All right, coming in to finish the slightly touched portrait illustration of Elon Musk. Heroes. Very, very fun. I honestly love this every time. You come back after having explored aspects of foundational design or whatever your craft is, even after a good break, and you feel the EXP that you've gained. And then when you touch someone who you admire, when you touch the legacy, the advice, the, patterns of speech and behavior that you admire, it's galvanizing, you feel closer to your dreams already. And that is totally huge. We're going to capture eyes. She noticed I switched to a smaller millimeter. I'll try not to get in front of the camera. So just doing 5 millimeter here. So you can light touch. And not to look too shiny or starry, but to capture some of that shininess, some of that starriness, something that sees beyond. And when you draw it to hold a message, a positive intention and respect, but to try and get to that, the elevated frequency of source, to try and capture the spirit through the portrait, more than just the man, the myth, but unique expression of all of creation in the form of Elon Musk, the divine in him, that expression of life and what it means to be human, again, this time in the form of Elon Musk. Which is pretty fantastic. That's the goal of portraiture. But then, do not be like having to. That's the goal of like elevated portraiture. I learned portraiture from a meditation teacher who lived through the 60s, did LSD on the beaches in California. So he talked about art as a kind of transcendental state. And it's easier when you're with someone that you genuinely love and respect. Of course, it's always valuable. Sometimes it's a challenge. Often you can find aspects of that, life force. Everyone's got a life force, and life force is perfect. So try to, deduce. Sometimes it's hard, though, and other times it's easy. And that's why you try to surround yourself with people whom, you have shared goals, wishes, dreams, points of view, and to celebrate diversity in all its shapes and forms. Like, everyone has a piece of it, a piece of the solution, a piece of the puzzle. Some people invest themselves in it and have more than one piece, but we all have something to give and something to gain. Freedom of speech is something that's very important. Like, I really like discourse, different points of view, diverse points of view, sometimes seemingly contradictory, but in the contradiction, you better explore both halves of truth. Okay, we'll try not to detail this too long, but it's looking pretty damn fine. Yeah, this is a very, stylish part of the illustration. We're just working in shadows and highlights. You want to try not to overwork, but in the back and forth exchange of form and read and the way that, light is hitting this one instance in time, specifically capturing it and bringing it to life. subtleties of expression, and then ways that you can hone in on that. And yes, to make it stylish also, so it's a unique capture of a unique moment in time. You're adding a layer of expression to this. Trying to capture good courage for reaching out for people. You really cannot fail sending messages. You can fail by not sending messages, and you can, of course, not hit your mark, but through every attempt and every experimentation, yes, there is failure, but you get closer, you build courage, you learn from what has failed, and take it to the next level. Yo, really good. All right, let's get a nice 1-2 read. Good play of shadows and light. Good expression. Capturing the expression's the hardest part, for sure. You work at it for a while, and then when you come back, you're like, one thing is out of place. But the more and the more and the more you do portraiture, the more times that you find a fine-tune adjustment that really brings out the character of the subject, of the person that you're sketching, the easier it is to map landmarks and take mental images and compare them to your reference effectively, and then make the right adjustments. So that as quickly you can kind of it looks like a bit of a magic trick, perfectly capturing features at first glance, but the more you do any one image, one expression, the more easy it is to capture it again. And there's a series of grids and techniques that you can learn, steps you can go through, areas that you can focus in on to get portraiture as well as you can. Fine tuning. All right, we'll call this good. Really good. Looking presidential. Perfect. Peace and love.